Dr. Amanda Mitchell rubbed her tired eyes, the soft blue glow of Jupiter's spectrographic analysis filling her darkened GPL office. At 2:47 a.m., she was the only one still analyzing the strange gravitational anomalies appearing at the edge of the solar system. The readings made no sense. Massive objects were dropping out of faster-than-light travel, but their signatures didn't match any known astronomical phenomena. Her coffee cup clattered against the desk as the first visual confirmation appeared on her screen. "Oh my God," she whispered, fingers trembling as she initiated the emergency protocols. The objects weren't natural. They were ships, thousands of them. Across the country, Fleet Admiral James Harrison sat in the bleachers of a small-town baseball field in Virginia, watching his grandson Billy step up to bat. His neural implant buzzed with an incoming priority message, but he ignored it. Billy had been practicing for weeks for this moment. The pitch came in, and the crack of the bat sent the ball soaring over the fence. Billy's first home run. The neural implant buzzed again, this time with an override code he hadn't seen used in 15 years. Harrison's heart sank as he stood up, already calling for his secure transport. "I'm sorry, kiddo," he said, hugging Billy quickly. "Grandpa has to go to work." At the Pentagon's deep underground command center, Lieutenant Michael Cooper stared at the tactical display with growing unease. The alien fleet's formation was unlike anything in their historical database, but something about it seemed familiar. He pulled up his old college thesis on ancient naval warfare, and his blood ran cold. "Sir," he called out to his commanding officer, "they're using a modified version of the Spanish Armada's crescent formation. They're positioning themselves for a full containment assault." The first transmission from the Crixian fleet came exactly at dawn, Eastern Standard Time. Their ships, sleek crystalline structures that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it, had taken position around Earth's orbital paths. Their message was broadcast simultaneously on all frequencies, in perfect English. "Primitive species of Sol 3, your world has been chosen for integration into the Crixian Empire. Your technological development has reached the threshold where you pose a potential future threat to imperial stability. Submit to immediate occupation and cultural reformation, or face complete orbital bombardment. You have 48 hours to surrender your governing authorities." In the White House Situation Room, the Joint Chiefs sat in seemingly calm silence. Defense Secretary Thomas Reynolds finally broke it. "Initiate protocol, sleeping giant." Deep beneath the lunar surface, Dr. Mitchell's quantum entanglement network hummed to life. In the storms of Jupiter, Captain Emily Roberts and her stealth fleet received their activation codes. Throughout the Kuiper Belt, automated defense platforms began their boot sequences. The Crixian Empire had made 3 critical mistakes. First, they assumed Earth's technological level based on its visible infrastructure. Second, they believed humanity's fractious nature made them incapable of long-term secret cooperation. Third, and most importantly, they never questioned why humanity's early space development had seemed to stall decades ago. Admiral Harrison stood before the UN Security Council's emergency session, his hologram projected simultaneously in secure bunkers across the globe. "Ladies and gentlemen, for 50 years we have prepared for this moment. Since we first detected their signals, since we reversed engineered their scout ship that crashed in Kazakhstan in 1991. They expect a primitive civilization. Let's show them how primitive we aren't." In lunar orbit, Lieutenant Cooper's analysis team detected a pattern in the Imperial fleet's shield harmonics. Their overconfidence was obvious. They weren't even running their standard encryption protocols. The arrogance of Empire would be their undoing. The Crixian commander's second message was aimed at Earth's population. "Your military installations are insufficient. Your orbital defenses are non-existent. Your civilization is barely capable of reaching your own satellite. Submit, and we will guide you to enlightenment." Dr. Mitchell allowed herself a small smile as she initiated the quantum network's final diagnostic. Humanity had hidden its true face for decades, knowing this day would come. Now, as the timer counting down humanity's deadline ticked away, Thousands of hidden weapons platforms, ships, and defense systems stood ready. The Empire had frozen Earth in its crosshairs, believing they had trapped a primitive world. They didn't realize they had just walked into humanity's killing ground. In the Oval Office, the President opened the final authorization protocols. Operation Lazarus was about to begin. Captain Emily Roberts stood motionless on the bridge of the UES Nightshade, her ship hovering silently within Jupiter's raging storms. The massive vessel, nearly a kilometer long, was just one of 300 ships concealed within the gas giant's turbulent atmosphere. Through the quantum-filtered viewing screen, she watched another Crixian scout ship pass by, completely oblivious to Earth's hidden Armada. "Status report," she whispered, though the ship's acoustic dampeners made even a shout undetectable. "All systems nominal, Captain." Lieutenant Sarah Hayes responded from her tactical station. "The Crixians are still using active scanning. Their sensor packages can't penetrate more than 10 kilometers into Jupiter's atmosphere. We're at 60. A slight vibration ran through the deck as another of Jupiter's storms rolled over them. The Nightshade's gravitational stabilizers, reverse-engineered from the Kazakhstan crash site, automatically adjusted. 50 years of preparation had led to this moment. In the asteroid belt, Colonel David Parker's mining operation continued its facade. The Crixians' long-range scans showed exactly what they expected to see: primitive excavation machinery slowly churning through space rocks. They didn't realize each mining vessel housed enough firepower to level a small continent. "Sir," his XO reported, "Imperial ships are beginning their secondary sweep of the belt. They're getting closer." Parker nodded, watching the tactical display. "Let them come. Maintain normal mining operations. Remember, we're just simple rockhoppers." His crew chuckled nervously. Their ships, disguised as clumsy industrial vessels, were actually the most advanced destroyers ever built by human hands. Back on Earth, in the deep underground command center beneath Mount Cheyenne, Lieutenant Cooper's analysis team made a breakthrough. "Admiral Harrison, sir, we've detected a pattern in their fleet movements. They're positioning their ships according to ancient naval warfare techniques. They think we'll only be capable of two-dimensional tactical thinking." Harrison studied the holographic display, a predatory smile crossing his face. "They expect us to fight like we're still on water." "Excellent." He turned to his staff. "Update all fleet commanders. When we launch, I want full three-dimensional combat protocols. Let's show them what happens when you underestimate humanity." The Crixian Empire's arrogance continued to work in Earth's favor. Their secondary broadcast began playing across all frequencies. "Your pathetic attempts at space industry amuse us. These primitive mining vessels and orbital platforms will be repurposed for Imperial use. Resistance is futile." Dr. Mitchell, now coordinating from Lunar Command, watched as her quantum entanglement network tracked every Imperial communication. "They're not even trying to hide their tactical data," she muttered, forwarding another decoded transmission to Cooper's team. "They really think we're that primitive." In high Mars orbit, the Imperial fleet's vanguard began deploying their bombardment platforms. They were so focused on Earth that they failed to notice the subtle gravitational distortions around Phobos, distortions caused by humanity's largest shipyard, hidden in phase shift behind the Martian moon. Captain Roberts received the updated fleet movements from Lunar Command. The Crixians had positioned their heaviest warships in a pattern that would have been devastating against a surface navy, but humans had long since abandoned such limited tactical thinking. "All hands, battle stations," she ordered quietly. "Prepare for emergence. We'll show these empires that humanity's been playing a very, very long game." The Crixian commander's smug face appeared on global broadcasts again. "Your deadline approaches, primitives. We detect no military response. Your submission is wise. Prepare for occupation forces." In the White House Situation Room, the president watched the final pieces fall into place. Humanity's hidden fleets were ready. The quantum network was operational. The phase-shifted weapons platforms were primed. 50 years of deception, of hiding humanity's true technological progress was about to pay off. Admiral Harrison gave the final preparatory order. All fleet commanders synchronize emergence protocols. Weapons free, full tactical discretion authorized. Show them what humanity's really capable of. As the 48-hour deadline approached its final hours, humanity's trap was set. The Crixian Empire thought they had Earth surrounded. They didn't realize they'd just positioned their entire fleet inside the largest killbox in military history. In Jupiter's storms, Captain Roberts watched her countdown timer tick toward zero. The Empire was about to learn why humanity had really been hiding in the shadows all these years. They weren't cowering. They were hunting. Admiral Harrison stood before the holographic command display as the final seconds ticked down. All fleets, execute emergence. Operation Lazarus begins now. Throughout the solar system, humanity's hidden might revealed itself in a carefully choreographed dance of destruction. In Jupiter's atmosphere, Captain Roberts' voice rang clear across the quantum network. Nightshade Fleet, full power to gravitic drives. Emergence pattern Delta. 300 warships burst from Jupiter's storms like angry wasps from a disturbed nest. Their matte black hulls, designed to absorb both energy and light, seemed to drink in the sunlight as they accelerated toward their targets. The nearest Crixian ships didn't even have time to raise their shields. By the Emperor's grace, the Crixian commander exclaimed as his tactical display erupted with new contacts. Impossible. Their signatures. They're using gravitic technology. Lieutenant Cooper's analysis proved devastatingly accurate. As the human fleet engaged, they attacked from all angles, including positions the Crixian formation had never been designed to defend. Their three-dimensional combat doctrine, torn through the Imperial battle line like tissue paper. Multiple direct hits on Imperial capital ships. Lieutenant Hayes reported from the Nightshade's tactical station. Their shields are calibrated for energy weapons. They never expected kinetic accelerators. The massive railguns mounted on humanity's warships fired projectiles at appreciable percentages of light speed. Against shields designed to repel energy weapons, they were devastatingly effective. The first salvo alone destroyed 12 Imperial dreadnoughts. In the asteroid belt, Colonel Parker finally dropped his fleet's camouflage. What appeared to be clumsy mining rigs transformed into sleek destroyers, their hulls reconfiguring like liquid metal. Mining fleet, weapons free. Show them what we've been building out here all these years. The Crixian battle doctrine, refined over millennia of combat against less advanced species, proved useless against humanity's unconventional tactics. Earth's ships attacked in three-dimensional formations that seemed to defy traditional space combat logic, using the gravity wells of planets and asteroids to perform maneuvers the Empire had deemed impossible. Dr. Mitchell's quantum network proved its worth as human ships coordinated with perfect precision, sharing targeting data and tactical updates without any communication lag. The Imperial fleet, relying on traditional faster-than-light communications, found themselves reacting to situations that had already changed. Status report. The Crixian commander demanded as another wave of his ships disappeared from tactical displays. "My lord, they're everywhere," his tactical officer stammered. "Their technology. It's far beyond what our surveys indicated. They're using weapons we've never seen before." The reveal of humanity's true technological level sent shockwaves through the Imperial fleet. Ships that had been hiding in plain sight for decades now emerged from every corner of the solar system. The carefully maintained facade of a primitive civilization shattered like glass. From lunar orbit, massive phase-shifted weapon platforms became visible, their targeting systems already locked onto key Imperial vessels. The surface of Phobos rippled as humanity's largest shipyard decloaked, revealing dozens of additional warships. Tactical analysis confirms, Lieutenant Cooper reported to Admiral Harrison. The Imperial fleet is attempting to regroup using standard doctrine. They still haven't adapted to three-dimensional warfare. Harrison nodded grimly. Press the advantage. All ships, execute attack pattern Thermopylae. The human fleet moved like a school of predatory fish, each ship acting in perfect concert with its neighbors. The Crixian formation, designed for confronting enemies who fought like ancient naval vessels, crumbled under the assault. Captain Roberts watched from the Nightshade's bridge as another Imperial capital ship succumbed to combined fire from her battle group. "They still don't understand," she remarked to her XO. "We've been studying them for 50 years. Every weakness, every tactical doctrine, every technical limitation. We know them all." The Crixian commander's next broadcast lacked its previous arrogance. "In the name of the Empire, what are you?" Admiral Harrison's reply was transmitted on all frequencies. "We are humanity. We are what you feared we might become, and you just walked into our killing ground." As the battle raged across the solar system, one thing became terrifyingly clear to the Imperial fleet. They hadn't found a primitive civilization ready for harvest. They'd stumbled into a carefully laid trap 50 years in the making. Earth wasn't defending itself. It was beginning its counterattack. Captain Roberts stood on the Nightshade's bridge, watching the tactical display as Earth's hidden technological superiority unfolded. "All ships, form up on me. Phase shift drives at maximum. Execute Operation Thunderbolt." The Nightshade and its escort fleet seemed to flicker out of existence, their phase shift technology making them virtually invisible to Imperial sensors. When they reappeared, they were inside the Imperial formation, their weapons already firing. "HFY combat network fully operational," Lieutenant Hayes announced, her hands dancing across the tactical console. The AI battle system coordinated thousands of variables simultaneously, predicting Imperial ship movements seconds before they occurred. "Lord Commander," a Crixian officer's panicked voice cut across their command channel. "Their ships, they're using quantum predictive targeting. Every shot is hitting our weak points before our shields can reorient." In the asteroid belt, Colonel Parker's forces demonstrated another aspect of humanity's preparedness. What the Empire had dismissed as simple mining charges turned out to be a vast network of gravitational mines. With a single command, hundreds of Imperial ships found themselves trapped in localized gravity wells. "Target their engines," Parker ordered. "Let's show them what real mining equipment can do." His fleet's railguns opened fire, each shot precisely calculated by HFY to strike where Imperial shields were weakest. Lieutenant Cooper's analysis team worked frantically in the Lunar Command Center, feeding real-time tactical data to HFY. "Sir," he called to Admiral Harrison, "we're detecting power fluctuations in their flagship. Their gravitational compensators can't handle our attack patterns." Harrison smiled grimly. They built their entire combat doctrine around fighting in 2 dimensions. They never expected an enemy to attack from literally every angle at once. The Crixian Empire's technological advantage, maintained for millennia through careful resource control and technological suppression, proved meaningless against humanity's innovations. Earth's ships moved with impossible precision, their quantum-entangled communications allowing for coordination that the Empire had deemed theoretically impossible. Multiple Imperial capital ships breaking formation, Dr. Mitchell reported from her quantum networking station. Their command and control structure is falling apart. HFY confirms their battle network is completely compromised. On the Nightshade's bridge, Captain Roberts watched as another Imperial dreadnought succumbed to combined fire from her battle group. The massive vessel's shields, designed to repel energy weapons, proved useless against the combination of relativistic kinetic weapons and phase-shifted warheads. "Status report," she demanded, even as her ship executed another impossible maneuver through phase space. "Enemy fleet at 60% strength and falling," Hayes responded. "HFY reports their adaptive algorithms can't keep up with our attack patterns. They're still trying to fight like it's the Battle of Jutland in space." The Imperial command structure, faced with an enemy that defied their fundamental understanding of warfare, began to crack. Ships started breaking formation, their crews more concerned with survival than maintaining tactical cohesion. "This is impossible." The Crixian commander's voice carried equal parts rage and fear. "You're nothing but primitives. How do you have this technology?" Admiral Harrison's response was broadcast across all frequencies. "We've been watching you for 50 years. Learning. Preparing. Every time you thought you were observing us, we were studying you. Your tactics. Your technology. Your weaknesses." In lunar orbit, Lieutenant Cooper's team detected a sudden power spike in the Imperial flagship. "Sir, they're preparing to launch their remaining fighter squadrons." "Perfect," Harrison replied. "Spring the last trap. Initiate the Legion protocols." Throughout the solar system, thousands of automated drone fighters emerged from hidden bays in asteroids, moons, and orbital platforms. Each one was controlled by a subset of ATGENA, operating with machine precision and coordinated through the quantum network. The Imperial fighters, expecting to face primitive human defenses, instead flew straight into a swarm of AI-controlled interceptors that anticipated their every move. The slaughter was complete and merciless. Captain Roberts allowed herself a small smile as she watched the Imperial fleet's formation completely collapse. All ships, execute final attack pattern. Show them what humanity's really capable of. The Nightshade and its escorts phase shifted again, reappearing inside the enemy's defensive perimeter. Their weapons fire carved through capital ships with surgical precision, each shot guided by Athena's predictive algorithms. As the battle reached its crescendo, one thing became absolutely clear to the surviving Imperial forces. Humanity hadn't just prepared for this fight. They'd been orchestrating it for half a century. And they were just getting started. Commander Jessica Hayes crouched in the shadows of the Imperial Palace on Crixus Prime, her quantum stealth suit rendering her invisible to even the most advanced security systems. After 15 years of deep cover as a primitive human slave, her moment had finally arrived. "All cells, execute Operation Shadowfall," she whispered into her subdermal communicator. Across 50 Imperial worlds, hundreds of similarly hidden human agents received her signal. The Empire was about to learn that humans didn't just hide their ships, they hid their best operatives in plain sight. In the Nightshade's command center, Captain Roberts reviewed the tactical data streaming in from the infiltration teams. "Admiral Harrison, human resistance cells are now active in 80% of major Imperial installations. Enemy response capabilities are being systematically degraded." Lieutenant Cooper's code-breaking team had finally cracked the last layer of Imperial battle encryption. The secrets they uncovered were streaming to every human ship through Dr. Mitchell's quantum network. "My God," Cooper breathed, "their entire defense grid runs on a centralized AI. And we just got the keys." Back on Crixus Prime, Commander Hayes watched as her carefully placed quantum charges detonated simultaneously across the capital city. Not with crude explosions, but with precise electromagnetic pulses that fried Imperial security systems while leaving civilian infrastructure intact. "This is impossible," an Imperial Guard captain shouted as his elite units lost contact with their command network. "They're just primitives. How did they get past our defenses?" Hayes emerged from the shadows behind him, her stealth suit shimmering into visibility. "We were never primitive. We just learned to be patient." Her neural disruptor dropped the entire squad before they could raise their weapons. In orbit above Earth, Admiral Harrison coordinated the next phase of the assault. "All ships, prepare for long-range quantum jump. The Empire thought they could trap us in our solar system. Let's show them how wrong they were." The human fleet's jump drives activated simultaneously, their technology far surpassing Imperial FTL capabilities. They didn't just jump to other star systems. They appeared precisely inside Imperial defense perimeters, their weapons already firing. Dr. Mitchell's voice crackled across the quantum network. "Athena has complete control of their defense grid, transmitting shutdown codes to all Imperial automated systems. Now." Across Imperial space, defense platforms went dark. Automated response systems failed. Emergency protocols defaulted to local control only. The Empire's technological superiority, maintained through rigid centralization, became its greatest weakness. Status report. Captain Roberts demanded as the Nightshade emerged from its jump near an Imperial shipyard. Better than expected, Captain, her tactical officer responded. Their automated defenses are blind, and their ships can't coordinate beyond visual range. They're fighting like it's the age of sail. Commander Hayes reached her primary objective, the Imperial Military Command Center. With their automated systems compromised, the Empire had fallen back on direct neural links to coordinate their forces. Her quantum charges had just cut off those links. All resistance cells, Phase 2, she ordered. Throughout Imperial space, human agents began transmitting evidence of Imperial atrocities to every subject world. Centuries of oppression, hidden genocide, and technological suppression laid bare for all to see. Lieutenant Cooper's team intercepted the panicked Imperial communications. "Sir, they're trying to activate their doomsday protocols." But he smiled. Athena already locked them out. They've lost control of their own weapons. Admiral Harrison's voice carried across all frequencies, broadcast in every language of every subject species. For 50 years, you thought you were watching a primitive species evolve. You never realized we were watching you back, learning your weaknesses, placing our people in your most sensitive installations. The Crixian High Command, their neural networks dark, their automated defenses silent, finally began to understand. Humanity hadn't just prepared for war, they had orchestrated the complete dismantling of an empire from within. Signal from Commander Hayes. Dr. Mitchell announced. Imperial Military Command is secured. Their leadership is cut off from all automated systems. Captain Roberts allowed herself a grim smile as she watched another Imperial shipyard fall to coordinated human attack. Send word to all fleet elements. Execute final phase. The Empire focused so much on what we were building in our solar system, they never thought to look for what we built in theirs. The real battle for Imperial space was just beginning, and humanity had been preparing for it longer than the Empire could have imagined. Commander Hayes stood before the assembled leaders of 12 different alien resistance movements in the captured Imperial Command Center. Their faces, some scaled, others crystalline, a few purely energetic, all showed the same mix of awe and disbelief. For 50 years, she explained, showing them the decoded Imperial archives. While they watched Earth, we were watching them, learning about all of you, preparing not just to fight the Empire, but to free everyone they enslaved. Dr. Mitchell's translation matrix, far more sophisticated than Imperial Universal Translators, enabled perfect communication between species that had been deliberately kept isolated from each other. The Empire didn't just suppress our technological development, she broadcast across the quantum network. They prevented all of us from working together. On the Nightshade's bridge, Captain Roberts coordinated with alien ships that had suddenly turned on their Imperial masters. Her tactical display showed green dots spreading across Imperial space as more and more subject species joined the human-led rebellion. The Zarkax fleet has broken Imperial conditioning, her tactical officer reported. Their crystalline ships are engaging Imperial forces in the Carina sector. The Thera swarm ships have also pledged allegiance to the coalition. Lieutenant Cooper's analysis team worked frantically to process the flood of new tactical data. "Sir," he called to Admiral Harrison, "we're seeing something remarkable." Each species the Empire conquered had developed unique technological approaches. They kept them isolated to prevent exactly what we're doing now, combining them. Harrison nodded grimly. 50 years of preparation wasn't just about building ships. It was about learning how to unite an entire galaxy against its oppressors. The Crixian Empire's carefully maintained hierarchy was collapsing. Every slave species they'd kept separate, every civilization they'd stunted, was now combining their knowledge through human quantum networks. Technologies that were dangerous alone became revolutionary when combined. Multiple Imperial fleets are surrendering, Dr. Mitchell reported. Our decoded evidence of their atrocities is spreading faster than they can contain it. The Empire's own communication network is being used against them. Commander Hayes led her multi-species strike team through the Imperial Palace's defenses. The once mighty guards, cut off from their automated systems and facing weapons that combined technologies from a dozen worlds, fell quickly. Humanity, a Zarkax commander's crystalline voice resonated across the quantum network. We thought you were young and primitive. Now we understand. You were the first species to see the Empire's true weakness. Their need for control made them predictable. Captain Roberts watched as another sector fell to the combined fleet. Imperial ships, designed to fight enemies using single technological approaches, had no defense against weapons that combined them all. Anthera swarm ships' phase-shifted attack pattern, coordinated through human quantum networks, guided by Zarkax crystalline targeting systems, proved unstoppable. They never imagined we could work together, Hayes transmitted as her team secured another Imperial command node. Their entire empire was built on keeping us apart. That's why they feared Earth. We were the first species to actively seek allies instead of conquest. In the captured Imperial archives, Lieutenant Cooper discovered the Empire's greatest fear, a prediction made centuries ago that a species would arise that could unite all others. They had watched Earth for signs of this potential, never realizing that their very observation had warned humanity of their existence. All coalition forces, Admiral Harrison's voice carried across the quantum network, now spanning hundreds of light years, prepare for final push to the Imperial throne world. Today we prove that unity is stronger than domination. The combined fleet, representing dozens of species and technological approaches, moved as one. Human quantum coordination, Zarkax crystalline energy systems, Anthera swarm tactics, and technologies the Empire had suppressed for millennia all worked in perfect harmony. They thought keeping us primitive would keep us weak. Commander Hayes transmitted as she watched alien ships fighting alongside human vessels. They never understood that true strength comes from working together. Captain Roberts allowed herself a moment of pride as she watched the tactical display. The Empire had spent thousands of years keeping species apart, ensuring none could challenge their dominance. In just 50 years, humanity had done what they had feared most, united them all. The final battle for the Imperial throne world was about to begin, and the Empire was about to face not just humanity, but every species they had ever tried to enslave. Admiral Harrison stood on the bridge of the UES Vanguard, Earth's largest battleship, as the combined fleet prepared for their assault on the Imperial throne world. The tactical display showed thousands of ships from dozens of species, all coordinated through humanity's quantum network. All forces, execute Operation Thunderstrike, he commanded. The fleets moved in perfect synchronization, each species' unique capabilities amplifying the others. Human phase shift technology allowed Zarkax crystal ships to appear inside Imperial defense grids. Anthera swarm tactics, guided by Athena's predictive algorithms, overwhelmed point defense systems. Lieutenant Cooper's voice cut across the command channel. Sir, we've decoded their final defensive protocols. They're activating something called the Eternal Night Protocol. In the Imperial Palace, Commander Hayes and her multi-species strike team intercepted the transmission. Confirmed, she reported. The Empire's planning to collapse every star in their territory rather than lose control. Transmitting shutdown codes now. Dr. Mitchell's quantum network carried the warning to every ship in the coalition. This is what they've done before, she realized, horror in her voice. Every natural stellar collapse in their territory, it was them, destroying systems they couldn't control. Captain Roberts maneuvered the Nightshade through a maze of Imperial defenses, her ship's systems now integrated with Zarkax crystal matrices. All ships, form up on my position. Let's show them what real power looks like. The Empire's last defensive line was like nothing humanity had ever encountered. Massive space stations channeled the power of artificial singularities, while temporal distortion fields twisted space itself. But against the combined knowledge of a dozen freed species, even these defenses proved inadequate. Their desperate, Cooper reported, analyzing the Empire's tactics. "They're throwing away entire fleets just to slow us down. Something at the throne world has them terrified." Through the quantum network, the coalition forces shared their discoveries. Each species had seen fragments of the Empire's true nature, but only together could they see the whole picture. The Empire hadn't just been suppressing technology. They had been harvesting it, stealing innovations, and erasing their origins. By the stars, a Zarkax commander transmitted as their combined fleets breached another defense line. "The Empire's superior technology. It's all stolen. Everything they used to conquer us was taken from those they destroyed before." Commander Hayes led her team deeper into the Imperial command structure, gathering evidence with each step. "This goes back thousands of years," she reported. "Every species that showed signs of advancement. They either enslaved them or eliminated them completely." The final battle for the throne world began as the Coalition fleet emerged from quantum space. Imperial defenders, faced with weapons and tactics they had never imagined possible, fought with the desperation of fanatics. "All ships, execute attack pattern Omega," Admiral Harrison commanded. Human ships phase shifted through Imperial lines, their weapons enhanced by Zarkax crystals. Ethera swarms darted between capital ships, their natural coordination amplified by Athena's quantum processing. In orbit above the throne world, the true scope of Imperial power was finally revealed. A massive structure, built from the combined technologies of thousands of conquered civilizations, powered their entire empire. But it was built on stolen knowledge, maintained through force rather than understanding. "Their whole empire is a lie," Dr. Mitchell transmitted as her analysis completed. "They don't advance or innovate. They just take. That's why they feared us. We created new technologies instead of stealing them." Captain Roberts watched as combined fleet tactics tore through Imperial defenses. Human ingenuity, Zarkax precision, Nithra adaptability. Each species' strengths covered another's weaknesses. The Empire's stolen technology, powerful but unoriginal, couldn't adapt to their synchronized assault. Final approach. Commander Hayes reported from the surface. "We've reached their central control. They're trying to activate something in the galactic core." Lieutenant Cooper's voice carried newfound urgency. "Sir, they're not just trying to collapse local stars. They're attempting to trigger a chain reaction in the galactic core. If they can't rule the galaxy, they'll destroy it entirely." Admiral Harrison's response echoed across all frequencies. "All forces, converge on the throne world. We didn't spend 50 years planning this revolution to let them take everything with them. The Empire's reign ends today." The final push began, as humanity led the greatest combined fleet in galactic history toward their ultimate goal, not just victory, but survival itself. The Imperial throne room's massive doors shuddered under the combined assault of human quantum weapons and Zarkax crystal resonators. Commander Hayes stood with her multi-species strike team, watching as millennia of supposed Imperial invincibility crumbled. "All teams in position," she transmitted through the quantum network. "The Emperor's trapped. No more retreats, no more hidden weapons." Above the throne world, the combined fleet executed their final attack pattern. The Nightshade led a wing of phase-shifted vessels directly through the Imperial defense grid, their weapons enhanced by technologies from a dozen liberated species. Multiple Imperial dreadnoughts attempting emergency quantum jumps, Lieutenant Cooper reported from his tactical station. Athena is predicting their vectors, and that Nthra swarms have them intercepted. Captain Roberts watched as the last pieces of humanity's 50-year plan fell into place. "All ships, execute final attack pattern. The Empire dies today." The throne room doors finally burst inward, revealing the true face of Imperial power. The Emperor, more machine than organic now, sat connected to a massive array of stolen technology. Cables and conduits spread from his throne like corrupt roots, reaching toward the galactic core. "You primitive fools," his synthesized voice boomed. "I am the Empire. I have ruled for 10,000 years. I have destroyed hundreds of species like yours." Commander Hayes stepped forward, her quantum rifle charge. "No, you've stolen from hundreds of species like ours. That ends now." Dr. Mitchell's voice cut across the quantum network. "Core destabilization sequence detected. He's trying to trigger the chain reaction." "You won't rule a dead galaxy," Admiral Harrison transmitted from the Vanguard. "Coalition forces, execute Operation Daybreak." Humanity's true masterpiece revealed itself. As the Emperor attempted to trigger a galactic apocalypse, every ship in the combined fleet activated their quantum stabilizers simultaneously. The technology, developed in secret on Earth and enhanced by the knowledge of freed species, created a cascading field of stable spacetime. "Impossible." The Emperor's voice cracked with genuine fear. "How can you possibly?" "We didn't just prepare to fight you," Hayes interrupted, as her team moved to surround the throne. "We prepared to save everyone from you. Humanity's greatest strength isn't our weapons, it's our ability to work together. Something you never understood." The Coalition fleet, moving with perfect coordination through the quantum network, executed their final attack. Human phase shift technology, Zarkak's crystal focusing arrays, and Thera swarm tactics combined to breach the last Imperial defenses. "Core stabilization at 90%, Cooper reported. "The Empire's doomsday weapon is failing." The Emperor made one last attempt, channeling power through his cybernetic systems. "I am eternal. I am the Empire. I am." Commander Hayes' quantum rifle fired, the shot enhanced by Zarkak's crystal technology. "You are finished." As the Emperor fell, Dr. Mitchell's voice carried hope across the quantum network. "Core stabilization complete. The galaxy is safe." Captain Roberts watched from the Nightshade's bridge as Imperial ships began surrendering across all sectors. "Send word to Earth. Operation Lazarus is complete. The Empire has fallen." In the throne room, Commander Hayes and her alien allies secured the Imperial control systems. 50 years of human preparation had led to this moment, not just victory, but salvation for hundreds of species. "All Coalition forces," Admiral Harrison's voice resonated through quantum space, "stand down from combat status. The war is over." The aftermath revealed the full scope of humanity's achievement. They hadn't just destroyed an empire, they had united a galaxy. The combined knowledge of every freed species promised a new age of advancement and cooperation. Lieutenant Cooper's analysis team discovered the final Imperial records. "Sir, according to this, we're the first species in their history to actively seek allies instead of trying to fight alone. They never imagined we'd succeed in uniting everyone they tried to keep apart." In the remains of the throne room, Commander Hayes stood with representatives from dozens of freed species. "Earth doesn't want to rule," she announced. "We want to cooperate, to learn from each other, to build something better than an empire." The quantum network carried their message of hope across the galaxy. Humanity had proven themselves to be not just warriors, but unifiers. Not conquerors, but liberators. Captain Roberts smiled as she set course for Earth. "Send word to all ships. Operation Lazarus wasn't just about defeating the Empire. It was about building something new, something better. Together." The dawn of a new era had begun, and humanity had led the way not through dominance, but through unity.